there.
Welcome.
Greetings.
To the Braid Candy Podcast, episode 580. I'm Susan.
Ooh. I'm Sarah. There is no long way to say that.
There's no short way either.
Sarah.
It drives me crazy.
Sarah Bear, Sarah. No, don't ever call me Sarah Bear. Don't. Please.
There really isn't a good nickname or a formal name for your name.
Formal, not. It's the maybe
We could pretend
mullet
like you're Sarah
of names. It can be both party and formal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. It's one size fits all.
Versatile. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of a shoe that's versatile, like a sporty, or like a oh, perfect, exactly. Dress him up, dress him down, like sporty, but also.
Okay.
How you doing?
I have been I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay, right? Everyone's just okay.
We're all okay. You know what I say to clients, though? Sometimes it's good to say, I guess, we're okay, but when we say, I just want to be okay, our brain, that's very ambiguous for our brain. And then if we have to ask ourselves, how will I know when I'm okay? Or what will okay look like? Because you know how we always do that thing as humans where it's like, oh, if I just make it through this time, then I'll be okay. I have yet to experience that. I've yet to come through that tunnel. Yeah. So I feel like, are we just tricking ourselves? Should we be more honest with ourselves? I wonder how much more satisfied we would feel in life if we just kind of said, oh, Adam's going to hate that. I just moved the mic away from me and towards me. I was getting real philosophical. And then when we do these Zoom sessions that you could watch on Patreon, I tend to lean back in my chair when I make big statements. I don't do that when there's no video. So that says something, which is weird.
Because it's like we're at a bar or something and we're just having
and I can see you. And I'm more just performing for you, I guess.
Well, it works.
So
I love it.
So, yes. I don't even know what the heck I was talking about. Probably nothing important.
Just like what it means to be okay.
Yeah,
and like what are we and what are we supposed to finish? Like, how do we answer that then?
Right. So maybe think giving very concrete instructions, like a definition, like define okay with actual action. So a helpful trick is to say, if I were to wake up in the morning, like a miracle took place overnight, I wake up in the morning and I am okay. Everything is okay. I know it. I just know by what I'm seeing. What would I see? What would I be doing? Who would I be with? How would I start my day? What would that day look like? Where am I? Those kind of things help you know that you're okay. So sometimes you can get some things kind of straight. Well, okay, sometimes we say like, I just want to be happy, but that's like a big, huge pill to swallow. Just happy all the time?
Yeah.
Your brain's like, what? I can't do that. What about those times when we need to be sad? And so it goes into panic mode trying to, like, reach this expectation that we set for ourselves. So, we can say, I'm okay, but maybe know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know. What the fuck do I know? Am I even okay? Who knows?
We are not okay. Collectively, no.
That's okay.
We're all not okay, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because things are still hilarious, and that's really all I ask.
I love it. And then in a way, they get funnier.
I'll give you, this is a dandy. Okay. It was a Saturday morning recently of the holiday period, and we were having a lie-in. As
I love
Adam
it. Turn down day.
Turn down day. We were watching British Bake Off holiday series, right?
Yes.
What more could you want?
Nothing.
Like a lazy day.
Nothing in the whole world. That's it.
And I had just posted that picture on Instagram wherein I was making a joke about how nobody calls each other, right? And like we don't answer phone calls and like, why are you calling me? All that thing. Yeah. And so I had just posted that the night before. And so my phone rang and I thought it would be funny to then answer it, even though I didn't recognize the number. And also, I answered it on speakerphone, which not only do I never do, but I hate when people do that. Like, when Adam does that, which is always, I hate it. Why are you on speaker? Okay, so I answered it on speaker, and the person said, Susie, like a knowing Susie. And I was like, yeah? And he goes, it's... And I don't know... Oh, And so my brain is doing that thing where you like scan your memories, like who the fuck is this, and why is he acting like I should know who he is? Right. Yes. And then I thought, well, there's only one that I even have heard of, which is the guy from Real World. Name.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I thought,
would make sense if it's going to be. Might be there.
It could be. Maybe that's him. And then he goes, we're not allowed to have phones in here, so don't say anything. So then I thought, oh, he's on the Real World, right? Like they're not allowed to have phones. But then Adam made this motion to me.
She is making a serial killer knife move that you are all familiar with, if you are wondering. Oh, my God.
It turns out I do know it's just that he's a murderer and in prison.
My.
Without a phone, to my knowledge. And he
Not anymore.
Borrowed
oh, my God. Are you sure you should say this on the air?
Well, he would probably not like that, but like.
Bleep his name. I'm so nervous.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Bleep his name.
Oh, but leave all of this in. Oh, God.
Okay, so this murderer calls me from prison from a phone he's not allowed to have.
Please don't die.
Right? And why did I answer?
See, selfishly, I'm like, I'm doing exactly what you did to me last episode. I cannot handle you dying right now.
That's all I need.
That's all I need right now. Okay.
So then, luckily, Adam was there, so he filmed me on the phone with... Oh, fuck, I shouldn't say his name. Damn it, I'm going to have to keep bleeping that. Okay. But anyway, so then Adam makes that thing, and I know now who it is, and I'm like, how are you? What are you doing? And he was like, I borrowed my friend's phone. They sneak it in here, and you were the first person I
know the mode
called.
you go into when you get uncomfortable and you're trying to make the... I know this. Hey, what are you... You get extra self-deprecating then. I know this. Oh, gosh.
It's terrible.
Susie.
Right.
Tell me. I'm like, this might be one of my favorite stories. I don't know why. I'm like there in the bed with you.
Okay, well, so I was really caught off guard, so I wasn't really good at making conversation, because what do you ask someone you've never spoken to in real life, ever?
Also a serial killer.
Who is also a murderer, and is on, he's a life sentence, and he had just gotten moved from the maximum security down to, like, general population normal.
And you were on his fucking speed dial.
Right, and I said, why aren't you worried that you're going to be sent back if you get caught? And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. They won't catch me. And I'm like, where are you charging this? Like, I'm just wanting to know, like, logistics.
He wants to know logistics.
Because where do they charge it? Even when we were on the challenge house, like, there was nowhere to charge anything you snuck in.
Oh, wait a sec. That's a really good point.
You know, like, how Evan had that camera.
Right.
And he would have to, like, charge it. And
secret.
Yeah, I always wondered how that worked. So I just need to know, like, the logistics of this whole thing.
I mean, how do you feel after that?
Well, he goes, and don't mention it in the letters, like, because they read them, and then I'll get in trouble. So I can't mention it.
Don't mention it in the letters.
So I just mentioned it
on
the air.
Feel free.
I don't want him to get in trouble or anything, but, like, then everyone's like, well, why did he have your phone number? But we, at the time, like a year or two ago, we were working on a pilot thing, and I was supposed to be going on and doing these video calls and stuff with these guys. And so they have my number, these people. Some
Susie.
of them.
Susie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
What do you think of
this?
Out there. Right? But then you think, well, maybe it's good to have these guys in my corner. Wait. That can't be right.
Like, I don't know. They shift corners, I think, pretty... Or like, if you're not with them, you're against them. And,
yeah.
I don't know.
I know. Because there's this one. Let me show you. Hold on.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh.
This one guy writes me. Let me see if I can find it in my
sometimes
stack.
when I'm on first dates, I tell people, hey, my friend Susie, one time her tweet went viral, and she had it read on a late-night show. Other times, I say, Hey, she's pen pals with some serial killers?
Let me show you this one. If you're on Patreon, you can watch it. See this? Read it. What does it say?
Susie, please
don't forget me.
Underlined, highlighted,
and
Merry
then what's
Christmas,
this one?
Happy New Year. Susie, it's chilly here. Are you upset with me? I hope not. I got the Moderna booster. Oh.
I got the Moderna. This is on the outside of the envelope, guys. I haven't even opened the...
Oh!
Yeah.
Who doesn't open that? I mean, do you need it to be screened for... Oh, my God.
But I have to do it, like, on a certain day. Like, I open.
You're wondering who still sends mail or gets mail? Susie and serial killers.
But, like, he always says that. Are you mad at me? I hope you... Because I take more than 2 minutes to write back, basically.
Okay. I wonder that...
They're needy.
Yeah. Make sure you tell him that you are never mad at him.
Right, and I'm not. And I said that to him.
Side.
I will never be mad at you. There's no reason for me to be mad at you.
Good. That's very good.
But stop asking me or I'm going to be mad at you. Basically.
Why do you keep asking me? Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to need a lot of therapy, which is lucky because we know good therapists. Thanks to the good people at BetterHelp. It's a wonderful service that can help you get true, good counseling and help your mental health.
I don't need therapy, everybody does. Everybody needs somebody to talk to. Shit's crazy right now.
But yes, you can get video, phone, or live chat sessions with your therapist. So you're in the comfort of your own home or office or whatever, but you can still see them if you want. And it's so much more affordable than some of the in-person options, which can be intimidating to people as well. And we just love people focusing on their mental health, basically. Just do something for yourself. They have a deal for you guys. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Brain Candy listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/BrainCandy. That's BetterHelp.com/BrainCandy. It's a good tool for your noggin.
Yes. Love a good therapist.
The phone call didn't last long. He sent a picture of himself while he was on the phone. And
what?
So I'll show you that separately.
Oh, my...
It was really freaky. Would you,
Susie?
What do you think of it? Do you think that is he shouldn't have, like, it was inappropriate for him to do that, or do you just feel like that's creepy?
That there's a couple things. He either perceives that there's a potential for a relationship, or you're in a relationship, some kind of relationship.
You mean a friendship? I mean, he said hi to my husband.
Okay, so friendship.
Hopefully.
Or like, I don't know. It's some kind of friendship.
I mean, think about how weird it is to be in jail and the way you're treated. So I can understand, like, not always following, like, social norms.
Well, in a way, it's kind of like when a client falls in love with a therapist. I feel like he has feelings for you because you see him in a way other people don't.
Oh, yeah. I bet that is a real job hazard for you people.
For you people.
You're like, mine are murderers.
Yeah.
No, but like,
what do you think?
Do you know of any therapists that have fallen in love with their patients? Clients, whatever.
Not that I know of. Not that they've... No.
I bet there are some.
I'm sure.
Because, like, what if George Clooney was your client?
Well, but then when I feel like sometimes when the nature of a relationship is different when it feels more almost maternal, if anything. Like, I would never, even if they were really attractive, because it feels like I care for them, they don't care for me. It's a one-way relationship. Even though it's not really. And I don't care for them. There's not... I mean, I do, but, like, not in that way. Like, it's not... I care for them, but not am the primary caregiver for them, you know. Obviously. It's weird. See? Fucking A. That's why they have those pamphlets that say... what do they have in the therapist's office? therapy never means sex or something like that.
No.
Yeah, this is like a whole thing. We have to. I'd say a significant portion of the questions in our law and ethics exam have to do with dual relationships and knowing where the boundaries are with that. Because anything can get perceived.
Sex.
Anything can get perceived as. It's a very delicate place. People are when you. You know, so it's we're not talking about me. We're talking about you. You guys are good. Hang on a sec. What'd you do here?
Anyway, it was a short, like 5 minutes. It wasn't long. But even within that short period, I was sort of like, what am I even supposed to ask him? Yeah, like, how are you celebrating the holidays? I pretty much know the answer to everything.
Hey, not a lot of small talk.
Right. And he wasn't asking anything, but
how's the weather out there, in there? I mean...
Do you think that, like, there's a part of people that tend to be in jail who they are more likely to need, like, the adrenaline thing? Because that's probably how they got there
for sure.
In a lot of cases.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that gives them because it's like a taboo phone, you know, contraband.
Absolutely. Of
they
just
get,
like
a rush.
Doing, that makes sense. Ooh, yeah.
Well, at any rate,
it would depend on. I'd be curious as to the motives behind his crimes.
Yeah, and I can't. Oh, those ones. I thought you meant the phone call.
Yeah. Because like maybe that if it seemed like that.
From what I understand, they were crimes of passion.
Okay. So maybe
It's like when the more I say it, the more fucked up it all.
Right, I'm like, crimes of passion with somebody he maybe perceived you was in a relationship with, but maybe then wasn't.
Things are going great.
Can I get a wellness check on Susie?
Wellness check. All right,
sure
well,
still alive.
That's that. Okay, that's what's new with me.
Story. That
Thank
is a
you.
doozy. You
doozy. Okay, did we talk about Susie's documentary roundup? Did we talk about the Woodstock 99 documentary yet?
No, but a bunch of people said that it was good. By a bunch, I mean like two people.
Okay.
One person said that I should watch it.
I think
and
I told
then
you.
I thought it was, the only person. Then I thought it was an older, is it old or new?
It's new.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah.
I have not seen this one.
This was on HBO. It's that same music box series with the Kenny G one.
Yeah. Right.
But this one's about Woodstock 99. And everyone had told me it was good and that I should watch it. I think some brainiacs did.
Yeah.
And so I finally did. And it was so disturbing to me. I ended up having nightmares afterwards, like when I went to bed that night. Yeah.
Pen pals with serial killers, no nightmares.
Yeah.
Watches an HBO documentary about a music festival, can't sleep for days.
So true. Okay, here's why though. Like
I love it. Here's why.
Number one, just the footage of seeing all that many people in a crowd really affected me because of COVID. It just felt disturbing to see. And remember how they were like swimming in feces? I mean, it was disgusting. Like all the porta potties were.
My God.
It was truly.
I mean, I'd draw the line at the mud alone.
Yeah.
The mud alone, I would have been like, yeah, I'm out.
Right. And it isn't even
Everybody's
just mud.
asking for ringworm.
Do you remember, though, the news afterwards, how they were lighting everything on fire, all of that stuff at the end? This was on MTV. Like, MTV had to evacuate.
What year did this happen?
99.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah.
How old? 86? So I was 13. Yeah, this is kind of like a distant. I think maybe I was a little bit too young to really know what was going on and even watch MTV.
Okay. Well.
And I had no older siblings, so.
It was a 3 or 4 day festival, and I thought the documentary really did a good job of showing how it built the shit storm grew over those days.
Literally and figuratively.
And how it was scorching hot, and there's all these people, and there's not enough water, and there's not enough facilities, and there's not enough bathrooms. And then when you couple that with the lineup, Limp Bizkit, I think Metallica, like ragey bands.
Yeah.
Or like heavy metal rather than, Peace Love Dope.
Was this the one the Beastie Boys were a part of, and then they came back and said, we have regrets about... that?
Maybe, because if they were there, they would have regretted it because it was just a nightmare. And then, by the way, as an aside, the lead singer of Offspring, do you remember that band?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's blonde, and he was like this cute little punk boy.
Pretty fly for a white guy.
Well, he grew up, and first of all, looks a lot different. He's heavier and he's a man. And he has a PhD in like freaking neurobiochemistry, like something crazy.
Hell yeah. I love
he
that.
quit the music business and became a scholar.
Yes.
Super nerdy.
That.
I love it. Anyway,
we love that.
But like Limp Bizkit was like getting the crowd all worked up.
Yeah.
DMX was there. DMX was another person who was like stoking the fire. And then all the women there were like, a lot of them weren't wearing tops, it was that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And then of course they were getting
free love with
white male rage.
Yes.
And so they were getting groped and, scary stuff, rapes and things like that. And I just, to see how humans can devolve and have that groupthink syndrome and like the chaos that can come in a group like that is scary. Like the mob mentality.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And then when people I feel like it happens at concerts because it feels like they're getting the thumbs up to do it. Mm-hmm. In the same weird way. I mean, in a way, like the attack on the Capitol was given like a thumbs up to.
I mean, that's why they call it mob mentality. I mean, it's a real psychological phenomenon that can happen.
Yeah.
When the people that you are following, your leaders, sort of say, this is what you should be doing. And that's how it was at Woodstock 99. And they were getting just amped up, and then the heat and everything coalesced. And then they started saying, fired everything.
And it's one thing. Oh, it is a perfect storm. Shitstorm.
It was horrible.
You're right.
Yeah.
Man.
It was really disturbing to watch.
I freaking bet.
And it made me think, I can't believe this stuff doesn't happen more often. And then I thought about Astro World and that nightmare.
Right. Yep.
And
I was like, well, it does. And what about Adam in the nightclub that he was in?
Yeah.
Your husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same.
Yeah, my husband was in one of those clubs where the pyrotechnics lit it on fire. And this was in Thailand where they don't have like the same sort of regulations and stuff. And it was like you hear about where he was getting he was trying to be like an English gentleman. He was like, okay, everybody, let's do this orderly. And it was just chaos. And he had women even with their high heels like walking across him on the floor, like across his body. So then he's like, I guess it's every man for himself. So
that's so, that kind of ad, I'm just reading that word. That kind of like sentiment, like every man for himself. Like, because you're in panic mode. You're like, I might not make it out of here. And then you go into survival mode. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So that's, he got out and then he had to go to the hospital because he had, like, his whole ear had been burnt.
Oh.
And it was terrible. But anyway, it's that feeling of, like, when humans are orderly and following the rules and stuff, everything can be okay. But as soon as something goes wonky, humans go crazy. And it scares me.
Oh, my God. I can't wait to watch that documentary, Suze.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like it's really interesting to see how this happened.
Yes.
And, like, because I remember, like, the Beastie Boys making comments about and coming back and feeling like, we definitely had a part in that. Like, there's one of the guys, I think his name is Ad Rock, because I just pulled up something and it says Beastie Boys Ad Rock rallies artists in the wake of Woodstock sex crimes. And it was like he had spoken out and said, like, we absolutely had something to do with this. And then they apologized for the song Girls.
Wow. That's good.
And that just stood out in my mind, and it made me feel like, thank goodness, he's recognizing they did the right things, like really trying to, but like, holy fuck, I don't.
Yeah, it was really disturbing, but I would recommend it, even though it gave me nightmares, because like Sarah, you said, it's so insightful and it does give you a peek into like human psychology and what can happen when we lose focus.
What do you think was what do you think was a part of it that really gave you the nightmare? Was it the crowd aspect and how close it was to maybe COVID stuff?
No, that was the violence. How, even with a normal mosh pit, there's etiquette. Like
for sure,
there are rules.
And serious etiquette. Yeah, rules. And if somebody falls down, you pick them back up.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
it's like a thing.
That did not happen. It was anarchy, and that really scares me because I guess I feel like that now. Like the collectivism is not being exhibited during this pandemic. It's like individual. It's still every man for himself.
You can see how the individual actions that we're taking that line up with that kind of mob mentality action and see that, okay, that is actually terrifying.
I'll tell you what's not terrifying are the stories that Dipsy tells me to help me go to sleep.
You need that.
Right.
With all the terrifying stuff, relax a little bit with some... if you like a little danger, let's have some safe danger.
Yes.
Comforts of my own bedroom in my
Sexy stories. So no matter what you're into, what turns you're on, Dipsy has the story for you. Take a little quiz, and it'll suggest things that you would like. Maybe you just want a good bedtime story, which I was reading in the New York Times. This is very popular now with adults. Bedtime stories used to be for kids, and now they're for everybody.
I don't understand why we would ever want to stop.
I should have done Dipsy before I went to bed after that Woodstock documentary.
Yeah,
to refocus.
Get a nice clean. Yeah, you need to go to bed with happy thoughts. Think happy thoughts.
Now they have wellness sessions to help you wind down and explore, and sleep sessions to help you drift off. So it's not just about Horntown.
SEX.
SEX. Right. For listeners of the show, Dipsy is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/braincandy. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/braincandy, dipsystories.com/braincandy. Everybody could use a good story. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that was good. You should watch it. There is a graph I wanted to show you. So it's it's like a chart.
Okay.
Where people rank what gives their life meaning.
Oh, I love this.
And they did it around the world and then compared what gives life meaning.
Oh, I'm dying to know what people said.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to read it because I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Most of them are pretty predictable. Almost everybody's first choice around the world would be what?
Love.
Family.
Okay.
But yes.
Potato.
Basically.
Yeah.
Love.
Relationships. Love.
Yeah.
Other
family.
People. Yeah.
Then a lot of them are also the obvious things like friends or a lot of people picked occupation because a lot of people do care a lot about their job.
Yeah. How about nature?
Nope. No nature.
What?
Not at all.
Wait.
And
hang on a sec.
I swear.
Wait. Nobody says nature, trees give life meaning?
I mean, there might have been individual people that said that, but in terms of the ranking,
the rankings?
top 5 choices were never nature.
I mean, that says it occupies about 4 spots on mine.
That's really a good point, and I didn't think about that. Okay. I was more focused on the
theory,
things that... Okay.
A hypothesis.
What?
Maybe people who are lacking the ones that... If I don't have the ones that are the first 5 or 10 or whatever, then I have to substitute that with meaning from other things.
So that's why nature is important to you, do you think?
Yeah,
because you don't have a big family or
a sibling. I don't have. They're important to me, of course. I don't know, freaking A.
I know what you mean. Well, what stuck out to me, instead of me thinking, "Oh, why isn't nature on it?" which I'm glad you said that, I was struck by the things that were like, "Huh, I can't believe that country said that."
Okay,
For example,
tell me.
The United Kingdom was the only one, or basically the only one that included hobbies.
Oh, I was going to say rest. I was going to guess, did that one say rest? And you know why? Because tea time. I feel like there's something about having a tea time that says you're allowed to take a break to do this.
Well, and they're
that maybe
also
gives
very
them
into
permission.
gardening there in
Yes.
England, which I think would be on the top of
Hobby.
their mind. Yeah.
And maybe they did say gardening and it fell into the category of hobbies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck, maybe
interesting.
nature would be included
Yeah.
in there, like going for hikes and things like that.
Because maybe they said nature and they were like, what do you mean? What action? Oh, this is
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And like same with like, oh, love. Well, what do you mean? What do you love? Family, friends. Oh, Suze, super cool. Tell me what else.
So the U.S. top 5 is family, friends, material well-being, occupation, and faith, which that last one does not surprise me.
Material well-being.
Yeah.
Is that stuff?
Yeah, like it's that you can afford a nice life.
Okay. Where did...
That's also present on Singapore's list and some other, actually,
Yeah. that makes
several.
sense.
Australia, New Zealand, Sweden. There's a lot of repetition, but that's why the hobbies stood out. And then on Taiwan, freedom showed up.
Free. Oh, wow. If you were
Taiwan.
under a dictatorship at one point...
And South Korea included one that nobody else did, which was general positivity, like general positivity in their life.
Like, just having a good attitude brings meaning because I guess you have to, like, if you are... South Korea, you said?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, North Korea. Probably not involved in this study.
Yeah. So that was interesting to me. And
was Taiwan ever under dictatorship? I don't know. I'm just guessing that,
I have no idea,
probably some
probably.
horrible, European country tried to do awful things. Classic.
I also think it's interesting that Spain, South Korea, and Taiwan were the only ones that didn't put family first.
Spain, South Korea, and Taiwan?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They had health, material well-being, and society, respectively.
Oh, society and respect. I feel like that because you don't want to shame your family. Maybe it has stuff to
It's
do
that
with...
collectivism thing.
Yeah, collective
Yeah.
culture.
You know what's
Oh,
interesting?
wow.
Italy had family in the first one, but it was tied with occupation, which surprised me because of all the countries that I would think like would put family first, it would be the Italian one, like
Yeah.
without occupation. Although Adam was like, but think about how they feel about their occupations. Like it's like
They are
a part of-
passionate about
it's
what
very-
they do.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought
And
that.
they are. And when you're like, and the Italians that I know, who live in Italy, and the people I know who live in Italy are almost caricatures of what their job is.
Yeah.
And not
What's an
like,
example?
my mom was friends with a guy named Massimo Riconda, who was a former Italian soccer player, who basically talked like a soccer announcer. In my mind, everything was like big, and however you picture a retired Italian soccer player to be, with that like kind of it's this. Like, I don't know, is it bravado the right word? Or kind of like this, like, this air of, like...
Swagger.
Yes, like a swagger, and you know that you could do cool things. Like, he would, at Easter, would just take the soccer ball and, like, show off to the kids, and we'd be like, oh, so cool, And it would just seem like a caricature of and the police... I know somebody who was a policeman, and they were like that, and... I want to say somebody else who worked in fashion, and she was like whatever you'd imagine, like a Italian
Like a stereotype,
fashionista.
yeah.
Yes, with long blonde bleached hair, bright pink lipstick, the whole thing, but dressed in all black all the time.
What would your top 5 be?
Oh, of things that give me meaning.
Nature would be in your top, right?
Yeah, it would, but I think first would be, probably friendships first. then family, but I would just call it love would be that, and that would be, but they'd maybe make me get more specific. And then, like, I don't know whether you'd call it adventure or discovery or exploration or something like that. So whether it's like learning new things or going to new places or learning something I didn't know before, like I really like that sense of wonder, like that awe, that awe thing, whatever that is. And then nature, like gardening and that kind of stuff. And that I think that almost will be tied with friends for first place would be my work as a therapist. It's not even the paycheck or the job per se, but it's what I do in my job. The being able to watch people grow. Oh my gosh, it is addicting. It is so fun to witness change happen because people don't notice themselves changing, but then you could see it, and it's so fun to point out how people talk different, say different things about themselves, believe they can do things that they once believed they couldn't, and it's so inspiring. And everybody starts with this, I don't think I can, or this isn't for me. And then they discover that everything that they doubted they could do, every way that they doubted themselves, they were wrong on, and they could do it. And it's so fun to watch. It's very hopeful. So
I wish we could watch the reverse of that too, where people that are like think they're good at everything and these like know-it-all show-off types could like be taken down a peg or two, and we could all watch that happen. That's real fun.
Right?
Because they're also
is that
wrong.
Kind of what we tune into reality television for? Is that the shout and fraud thing?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I almost feel like I got that. I watched myself a few seasons. I was like,
yeah, you did, but that you're the wrong person. That's not the person I want to feel that.
Thanks, Susie.
I want Johnny to feel that.
Right.
And people like him.
Fair.
He's a type.
Right. Totally. What about you? What's your top 5?
I would definitely include learning, for sure.
Yes.
I can't believe nobody put that, unless that falls under hobbies.
Nobody put that?
I guess it would fall under hobbies, but...
No, that's like saying it, nature gardening falls under hobbies. Like, are you serious? Nobody put learning, Suze.
No country had that in the top 5, but for me, it's definitely...
Yeah.
And then the usuals, like family, friends, like I do love working, stuff like that. But, yeah, it's just funny that it would vary over even globally. You would think that it would be universal because everyone's always saying how we're all so similar we're more similar than we are.
Right?
Are we, though?
Are we?
I'm not sure anymore.
Maybe if in a healthy, self-actualized, like aware place or something, but like
yeah, right.
At our most animalistic, like default behavior. I don't know.
I don't know either. But anyway, food for thought.
Interesting. Yeah.
I watched this little short documentary on theNewYorker.com. It was called The Paint Wizard. And it was about this trans woman who is a house painter. And
I saw this.
You saw it?
Yes.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, what did you think?
Well, in a way, I was happy that she had a job, and she really cares a lot about her job. And I think it's great that in a town that's so small, she found a niche.
Yes.
Did I not see all of it? Is there a sad story?
No, it's just that, like, to me, it was so remarkable. And I feel like you always read and watch these things, but then you, like, don't think to mention them for some reason. I don't know where they go and you're not.
I know. I don't know, because it's like...
That's why I'm like, are you sure you watched it? Because I would have thought you'd bring it up. Because it was remarkable in the sense that this trans woman clearly was a trans woman. It wasn't someone who was passing as cis female. Mm-hmm. This is somebody who you would probably assume is either what they used to call cross-dressing or transvestite, but is actually a transgender woman. And so to see her going about her life as a house painter and what that would be like, and the damage that it's clearly done to her in terms of like her own identity and how she sees the world, because she's very joyful in a way, but she's also very cynical in a way.
Yeah.
Like, remember how like she was dancing in her little trailer home that she lives in, and there was this sense of like liberation that she had from being herself. But then there was also this, like, if she would meet somebody in the store and they would comment on her dress or something, she would self-deprecate in a way that didn't feel false. Like, it felt like she was really shitting on herself. Oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes would vacillate between identities. Like, she sometimes would allude to, like, not being fully a woman.
Yes. I noticed that, too, and I almost felt like that in the dress as well, like in what she wore.
Why?
Because it almost felt like, you know, when little kids... And this is interesting because there's a part of me that now, in looking back at my memory, I wonder... I have to watch it again because I wonder if I created the visuals. Like, if I had been only listening... I might have been only listening to the audio, or I, like Adam, put my phone on speaker and put it down on the table and then, like, go about my business. And I may have been like, ooh, this is a fascinating story. I want to listen to this.
Yeah.
And then not seen the video, and then created a memory of what in my head looks like a... You know when little kids play dress up and they put like a tutu on over a pair of jeans or something?
Yeah.
I have that image in my mind. Is that accurate as to some of the clothing? Or is that...
No, she was fully dressing as female, but...
was this just like a 90s fashion statement of skirts over pants, which we thought was cool for a minute? And
maybe I'm not remembering that outfit, but my memory is just that she was wearing dresses and stuff, but like... Because she was built like a traditional man size and stuff, like she didn't look like, oh, that's a woman.
And I feel like in my mind I remember thinking, I support anyone in dressing in a way that feels good for them.
Yeah.
But as somebody who cares about safety while you're painting on a roof, maybe a skirt's not the best thing to wear on a
and the footwear was definitely
right,
not.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, this seems just unsafe workplace attire, regardless of gender.
Sarah's worried about workplace
That may
injuries.
be what in my mind. I was
and
like,
that is fair because she was not wearing the right shoes for sure.
No,
to be
sure,
on
it was an open-toed situation. Heel, no. Great for the runway, not so much for the ladder.
The woman was raised Mormon, and so
yes, I remember this. Yes.
There is that religious self-hatred that is sort of intrinsic with people that are on the on the non-binary gender spectrum. Mm-hmm. She did wear little cat ears, which maybe is referring to like that costumey feel that you referred to.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was it said, even with tits and vagina, she says she knows she's not a girl. That's what she said. Yeah. And then she said she sees herself as the Alamo. She won't surrender, but she won't win. Which that was an interesting metaphor, too.
Yeah. Gosh, that is.
And maybe it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think so.
She was, how old would you say? 60-something?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I should have said that from the start. So she was from a generation where, like,
right,
this was stigmatized beyond what even it
and
is
a
now.
community. There's a whole bunch of stuff. The location where she lives.
Yeah, the religion.
Yeah,
the whole deal.
Whole bunch of things.
Anyway, The Paint Wizard on NewYorker.com. It's really worth watching. So interesting. Really beautifully shot, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, last thing in this documentary, never-ending nonsense that I am in. On Disney Plus, there's a documentary. It's not new, but it's called The Boys, and it's about the Sherman Brothers who wrote a lot of the Disney tunes.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the Mary Poppins songs.
I loved the A.J. Novak's portrayal of him, one of the brothers, in the movie Mr. Banks. That was so good, and if you haven't seen it, oh my God,
That's interesting.
They did a good job.
Okay.
Because they wrote Spoonful of Sugar, right? And Mary Poppins and all that? Yeah.
They won an Oscar for that, too. And then they wrote It's a Small World After All.
The world's catchiest song?
Yeah, bores into your head. But they wrote thousands of
Small
songs.
World,
literally.
big earworm.
Yeah, big earworm. But it was really fascinating to see their creative process, how they did it, what the trick was to writing so quickly all those songs, thousands of songs. Yeah. But they hated each other. That's the thing I can't get over. Like, these guys worked together for 50 years and did such amazing things, but they were like, they hated the other one.
Really hated each other, or was that like part of the act?
Well, they don't speak, so by the time this was made, they are one's in London, one's in LA, and they don't talk. They'll see each other like on the red carpet and be like, "How you doing?"
Oh, they don't like each other.
No, they don't. They're not like
brothers.
A shtick. They are brothers. Okay. And they never liked each other. It's not like they had a falling out. There was no big blowout. It's just like they just clashed.
Something about their tumultuous relationship made for excellent.
Do you think that's common, that sort of like forged in fire thing of like where the tension creates creative juice?
Well, I think about... it's hard for me to give examples without naming domestic abusers.
What do you mean, though?
I mean, like, couples that performed. I'm thinking of, like, I don't know. Was Sonny and Cher, was he abusive? No. Okay, so not him. But
Ike
I think,
and Tina.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's the only... but, no, I feel like there are other examples of this. What about Bobby and Whitney? Did they perform together? Was they abusive? I don't know.
But they were creating art together.
Right,
I mean, separately they were.
No, I don't know.
It always comes back to those two crazy kids.
Right? I'm like, speaking of Bobby Brown, no.
They were sort of alluding to it, though, in the documentary that, like, the tension did grease the wheels. And I don't get that. I've never had a relationship like that.
It would not do that for me.
No, me neither.
No, I could not imagine not.
Maybe it's a men thing.
I couldn't imagine working with you and not being like, nope, that's my best friend in the whole entire world. Like, it being like,
that's so nice.
Mad,
yeah, what if that was our
mad?
deep secret, that we secretly hate each other off the air?
Please. You could read that. You could feel that, though. But you can't feel it through music. But you can feel it through interaction. I wonder. Yeah. Well, you know what? What about musicians that... We've talked about bands that have gone to...
That's a good point.
Yeah, I know. Oasis.
That's true.
Noel
they did
Gallagher
push it a little far, though.
Yeah, that guy's an asshole.
Maybe it has to be just enough where, like, it creates that fire in your belly, but then doesn't make you quit the band.
Right.
Yeah.
Better examples. Sibling relationships and...
Yeah, and music. That is a good one, though. Oasis. Boy, those two. They could not get it together.
Oh, for Pete's.
They do make me laugh, though, because they still do it on Twitter. Like, the one was promoting something of his, and the other one wrote underneath it, boring. I mean, that's great. I love that.
That is great. I just feel like they're both assholes. Like, they both think that they're... This is going to be a controversial statement. Don't really like Oasis.
Really? That is controversial.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a song you can find, but it seems a little whiny.
Yeah, I get that. It is.
I'm like, and they just seem like, and not like this is a reason to not like somebody, but they're just like guys who think that they're real tough, and I'm like, I could fucking beat both of you in arm wrestling.
Yeah, because that is so true of like people that grow up poor always think they're tougher than they are just because you were poor.
Right.
Like, you're working class. We get it. Okay.
Yeah. Either that or they go on to be MMA fighters, like the guys from Russia who look like they would do anything to you, and you're like, oh, yeah, that guy killed like 12 people before he was 16, and now he can, like, rip your head off in one move.
By the way, I just remembered how whenever Sarah's mom had her accident, and then it was like, oh, my gosh, like, she's going to have to uproot her whole life or whatever. And I was like, Sarah, we get it. You're the underdog. I laugh about that regularly.
So much.
Like, so
I think
mean.
about that too. No, it's freaking hilarious. It's so
it
funny.
It does feel like that. Like, enough.
I would too love to stop this never-ending beat down I get from the universe.
Right.
I don't know what.
It's getting a bit much.
I probably murdered somebody in a past life, and this is like payment or some shit. And that's why I feel like I owe everybody everything. I don't know. Who knows?
It does. It's getting a little ridiculous. Okay, moving on. So the Sherman Brothers documentary, The Boys, on Disney Plus. I like that one. Okay. How about this little nugget? Somebody wrote, I forget who, a quote. This is a quote. I picked up an encyclopedia volume and found the entry, woman. A woman can be many things in society, it cheerfully explained, such as doctor, secretary, or teacher. It seemed very weird, a 3-page article summing up woman. So I got the M volume off the shelf, and under man, it read, C, human being.
No. I was already about to just lose it over the definition.
So men, just so you guys know, men are human beings, and women can maybe be a secretary.
maybe. You have 3 options. Oh my frickin'... Okay. Oh my gosh, I wish we had that same fucking dictionary. I want to look up so many other words. I want to look up feminine. I want to look up female.
I know.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it was an old encyclopedia. I'm sure it's outdated, but it's still just...
But if it's right. How outdated, though?
Yeah.
Right. And if it's the one that your parents used and referred to, that says something about how... It says something about the foundation of knowledge and information that the people who imposed lessons on us believed or had.
Mm-hmm. It's so disturbing.
That
was just to make you mad.
I look at so many things as like an iceberg, right? We see just what's on the surface, but there's so many more layers beneath that. And that I see as one of those, like, I don't know, almost like deep layer of, like, it just hints at something that's much more than, oh yeah, let's make sure women get equal pay.
Right.
It's going to be changing the stuff that is at the core.
You have to dismantle the whole thing.
The very bottom, and like we're not seeing the full picture of, I don't know, just...
That reminds me, on 15 Minutes of Blame when we record that, I want to talk about this article I read about Josh Duggar.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
sort of, tell me,
just what you said just reminds me of that, how like what happens when we put like that sort of traditional patriarchal system on a pedestal and act like it's quaint and heartwarming and whatever. But anyway, we'll save that for our Patreon.com/BrainCandy, which you should check out.
Yes, fascinating. So
because fascinating. We do that. It is our shame as well as his for being in that situation. Okay, last thing. I've been meaning to talk to you about this 83-year-old guy who completed the 2,190-mile Appalachian Trail. He is now the oldest person to have done so. And I just am so impressed with him. He's a retired eye doctor from Georgia. He went from Georgia to Maine on the trail. And he had a 6-pound pack that he carried. It had a tent.
Shout out to him for just minimal, excellent packing. Yeah. To get it all into 6 pounds?
Right. He had a tent, a sleeping bag, and some other gear, and then some food and water. And then he said that...
ever get mine under, 17.
Right. I can't. Maybe it's because he's a dude. I don't know. But... Just
for those 100 tampons I need.
Yeah. He saw bears, and he said mosquitoes dive-bombed and pecked at him. And he said he dreaded the prospect of boulders and 50-mile-an-hour winds, and he wanted to quit every day, which I could not believe that he said that.
Wow.
Because we mythologize these people and think like they just have this spirit that we don't have where they want to keep going. And he was like, no, I didn't. I hated it.
I think they have the spirit of wanting to see if they can make it through something that they just hate every day and want to accomplish. Don't we
Yeah.
all? Isn't that what life is a little bit? I just want to try and just making our way down this trail. Just
At the
trying to-
end of the trail, he was greeted by a man who had the record before him.
Oh,
and
my
gave him an
God.
engraved walking stick, which is so cute.
This is adorable.
And he did say that 80% of his success came down to mental grit, which is what
I love this.
That sort of thing that
I
if you
love it.
if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Well, and I think I think he's an example of if you like. Well, not really. If you don't use it, you lose it. But how using it can keep you going.
Well, yeah, and because
You
since he
don't
was an
lose
eye
it.
doctor, clearly he's someone who values education. So I bet he's using his body and his mind in equal parts,
Yes.
and that is a wonderful secret to
Well,
know.
even just, I think there's so much involved when you're on a solo hike that is a puzzle, that is mental, that is like reading a map, orienteering, all that kind of stuff, that even when you have a trail, it's still, you can lose the trail, you can get off course, there's different routes to take, there's a lot involved that would keep you kind of mentally sharp. And I was thinking about, this is going to sound silly, but maybe it'll make sense after this. But I said to myself a little bit ago, I was on a boat, and I was like, I wonder if I could still do a backflip. And then I thought, I wonder how old I'm going to be when I can't do a backflip anymore. Like, how long can I keep this going? And then this morning I had this thought, where I was like, okay, I'm going to every single year ask that question. Like, I'm, usually somehow, my mom lives in, tropical Costa Rica, so I'm usually on a boat at least once a year. Or a diving board or somewhere where there's the opportunity to do this. I'm like, I'm going to videotape myself every single year and go, okay, I'm 35, I can still do a backflip. 36, I can still do a backflip. 37, I can still do a backflip. And just keep doing that and see how old. And I was thinking, man, if I set that as a goal, I wonder if it would prolong my ability to do that year after year, because now I've set that goal and looked forward to that, and now my mind thinks, well, we've got to just keep ourselves in healthy shape so you can do that backflip every year. And I think if you set the goal of, I want to hike this Appalachian Trail, or I want to achieve this, and your body naturally, you've told it, I live over there, and it's okay, I'll drive you that direction. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, just a theory.
Yeah, remember when you were here and I did the trampoline trick, and then I had a sore
and
neck?
you crushed it! Oh, wait.
But then I had a sore neck, and then I thought, well, that means I need to do more of them. Because I think what happens to a lot of people is, I can't do that anymore.
You are so right, Susie.
That is the wrong answer.
Yes.
Because that's why people end up breaking their hips and stuff. I remember reading in this book called Another Day in the Frontal Lobe, where a neurosurgeon was talking about one of the reasons people break their hips when they get older is because they stop doing the motion getting up from the floor. So they recommend putting a mattress just on the floor, because then you have to get up that way every day, and then you still have that mobility.
This is so smart. This is great info. That's a small change. And then you think about the cultures that are those blue zone, the cultures where they live to be statistically significantly older than other places. And I'm thinking of a lot of cultures where they kind of sleep on mats on the floor.
Yeah.
Costa Rica, floor.
Right.
Japan, floor. Close to the floor. Sitting. You're eating dinner on the floor.
Anything that you see kids do that you don't do, start doing
it. Right?
Kids are on the floor all day.
What did we say last season? Last episode we were talking about story time. Yeah. See?
For real. I mean, anything like that, kids are doing it for a reason. So why are you not?
Right.
Anyway,
naps.
let's wind it down. Naps, that's true. Diapers.
Right. I always say that. Naps.
Killer called me. We talked about that.
Oh, my gosh.
Never know what a day will bring.
I have to have weekly safety checks now, where I just send the cops to knock on Susie's door to make sure she's not been murdered.
I know. We'll see how that continues.
Told us about the brothers who make songs and how they're not even friends.
Yeah. It's sad. But they sure made beautiful music, and I'm thankful for them for that. And then you should watch the Woodstock 99 documentary, even though it's disturbing, because it's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And then also the Trans House Painter short film, which was called The Paint Wizard.
Wizard.
And then figure out what top 5 things bring you meaning and get more of those in your life.
Oh, yeah. Let's have you guys, like, submit it to us. We'll put one of those. What the hell do you call that on? Yeah, a poll or that question box.
All right, everybody.
I love knowing what your guys' 2000 New Year's resolutions, if you had them, were great.
Yeah, they did. They had good ones. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.